Have you ever wondered why the Amazon River has no bridges? Well, it's not because of boiling lava water, tsunami-like waves, or a supersized serpent lurking in its depths, but it does have something to do with the sheer size of this impressive river. Stretching over 4,345 miles long, the Amazon is one of the longest rivers in the world, running even longer than the distance between Alaska and New Orleans. As you can imagine, a river this big releases a lot of water into the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, it distributes around 44,000 gallons of fresh water into the ocean every second, which amounts to about 3.8 billion gallons of water every day, the equivalent of tipping 5,759 Olympic swimming pools into the ocean. This impressive freshwater flow accounts for almost 20% of all river water that enters the sea. But with all this water, why hasn't anyone built a bridge across the Amazon? During the dry season, the river isn't impossibly wide, averaging a width of 2 to 6 miles. However, the wet season is a different story. From mid-December to mid-May, the Amazon experiences a deluge of rain. The water levels can rise to almost 50 feet, the same height as a 5-story building. This makes building a bridge over the river during this time impossible. So there you have it, the mystery of why the Amazon River has no bridges whatsoever. With its sheer size and seasonal flood levels, building a bridge over the Amazon River is just not feasible. And it's not just the height of the river that's a problem. During the wet season, the river also widens significantly, reaching up to 24 to 30 miles wide in some parts. That means any bridge built over the widest point of the river during the wet season would need to be a whopping 17 times longer than the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. But the effects of the wet season don't stop at wider rivers. Aquatic grasses known as mactupas can cluster together on the river's surface. When the flood season hits, these floating blocks of vegetation become filled with water before sinking to the riverbed and dying. But during the dry season, the flora formations rise again, literally. Floating on the water's surface, the vegetation patch provides a substrate of partially decomposed organic matter on which plant species can start growing. The cycle of submerging and floating of the grass blocks repeats itself over the course of successive wet and dry seasons. Over time, matupas can reach up to around 40 feet tall and grow as large as 10 acres. That's equivalent to the size of your average American football field. Now, that may provide a welcome resting place for some Amazon wildlife, but it's far from ideal to have a floating island bobbing along the river if you're trying to construct a bridge. And yet, it's not just the wet season that can be blamed for the Amazon River infiltrating engineers' nightmares. Twice a year during the biennial equinox, the sun and moon exert a stronger pull on the Earth than the rest of the year. And it's this pull that brings the tides to their highest peaks. In the case of the Amazon, these huge waves come crashing from the Atlantic Ocean, where they overpower the current at the mouth of the river, reversing its flow in the process. But there's more to the Amazon than just the lack of a fancy bridge. Have you heard of the Encuentro das Aguas, or the meeting of the waters? It's where the Rio Negro and the Amazon River meet, but the two rivers don't actually mix. There's a clear divide between the colors of the two waters that's so distinct it can even be seen from space. But don't worry, it's just down to the difference in temperature, speed and murkiness between the two bodies of water. No need to call in any wicked demons for that one. Now here's where things get a little spooky. There are a few theories as to why there's no single bridge across the Amazon, and they're not for the faint of heart. Let's go back a theoretical 60 million years to the Paleocene epoch, where a deadly creature known as the Titanoboa lurked in the swamps of Colombia, a country that the Amazon River passes through. This prehistoric predator stretched out to around 50 feet long and weighed in at a stocky 2,500 pounds. For comparison, the biggest green anacondas today are only around 1/5 of the weight of the Titanoboa. But before you start having nightmares about giant snakes, don't worry, scientists claim the Titanoboa has been extinct for nearly 58 million years. However, there have been multiple sightings of giant snakes swimming in the murky Amazonian waters. The first widely known account was by Percy Fawcett, a British geographer and explorer of South America in the early 20th century, who claimed to have seen a Titanoboa measuring a total length of 62 feet. But Fawcett's claim wasn't taken seriously, probably because he also claimed to have seen a dog with 2 noses and a giant spider the size of a dinner plate that left its victims blackened from its poison. Sounds like Fawcett may have licked one too many Amazonian toads, but who knows what's really lurking in those murky waters. Have you ever heard of the Goliath bird-eater spider? It's the world's largest spider and can grow to be as big as a puppy. Pretty crazy, right? And speaking of unusual creatures in the Amazon, have you ever heard about the double-nosed Andean tiger hound? It's a rare breed of dog that inhabits the shadowy depths of Bolivia. One explorer even encountered a puppy with a double-barreled snoot. It makes you wonder if other sightings in the Amazon, like the Titanoboa, could be real after all. But the Amazon is full of other scary creatures too, like the Yakumama, a 200-foot-long serpent that's said to dwell in the Amazon River. According to legend, it sucks up any living thing that passes within 100 steps of it. And if that's not enough to scare you, the Shanay-Timpishka tributary in Peru is known for its boiling water, which locals believe was birthed by Yakumama. Imagine getting boiled alive by a snake-created hot spring. Okay, so maybe some of these stories are just myths, but there are plenty of other nightmare-inducing critters lurking beneath the Amazon's surface, like the green anaconda, which can grow to be over 30 feet long. These serpents use their strong jaws to capture prey before suffocating it with their thick, muscular bodies. And get this, they can even detach their jaw to swallow larger prey like caimans and tapirs. Don't worry though, there's not much evidence of them dining on humans. You might think that catfish are pretty harmless, right? Well, think again. Meet the piraiba, the largest catfish in the Amazon. This frightening fish measures over 10 feet long and weighs around 330 pounds. That's almost double the size and weight of a typical adult man. And it's not just their size that's freaky, they're known to have parts of monkeys in their stomach contents. Gross. But let's talk about something a bit more ancient. For years, researchers believed that the land around the Amazon River wasn't densely populated until the arrival of Spanish colonizers in the late 15th century. But recent technological developments have proved this assumption wrong. Using a tool called LiDAR, scientists discovered that ancient Amazonians built and lived in densely populated centers with monumental mounds, 65-foot-high pyramids, raised fields for agriculture, and even 600 miles of canals and causeways. It's now believed that between 500,000 and 1 million people once lived in just 7% of the Amazon basin. Who knew the Amazon was so advanced? Speaking of lost cities, have you heard of the lost city of Zed? It's believed to have been a real city in the Mato Grosso region of Brazil. Percy Fawcett, a famous explorer, was obsessed with finding it in the early 1900s. In April 1925, he set off with his son and a friend, but they were never seen or heard from again. No one knows for sure what happened to them. Some speculate the local indigenous people were to blame, while others think they succumbed to fever or starvation. Despite Fawcett's failed expedition, an anthropologist named Michael Heckenberger, with the help of the local Kuikuru people, discovered an ancient civilization called Kuhikugu that may have been the lost city of Zed. It's believed to have been inhabited by around 50,000 people and spread across 7,700 square miles. Can you imagine? That's about the same population as London in 1500. The Amazon is full of mysteries and surprises, and these stories are just the tip of the iceberg. Who knows what else is waiting to be discovered in the vast rainforest? According to Heckenberger, Kuhikugu was a civilization advanced enough to build moats and bridges that crossed large sections of the river. That's pretty impressive, right? Imagine a bridge over the Amazon River. Sadly, Kuhikugu was located south of the Amazon River, so the closest water source would have been the Xingu River instead. But don't lose hope just yet. Thanks to LiDAR technology and deforestation, researchers are getting a clearer picture of the ruins left behind by ancient Amazonian civilizations. Who knows, maybe a bridge-building civilization like Kuhikugu will be discovered on the banks of the Amazon River soon. But there's a problem. What happened to these civilizations and their structures? In the 16th century, Europeans sailed down the Amazon River and brought with them diseases like smallpox and measles, which wiped out 90% of the Amazonian population within just 100 years. Additionally, the Amazon's indigenous people built with wood and earth, materials that decay if not maintained. That means potentially countless bridge ruins from bygone Amazonian civilizations have been swallowed up by the jungle. So why aren't there any stone pyramids or acropolises in the Amazon like in Greece, Egypt or Mexico? Well, those ancient civilizations built with durable materials like stone, while the Amazon's indigenous people used wood and earth. What do you think is the biggest reason there are no bridges over the Amazon River? And would you be brave enough to cross the river if a bridge was built? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.